This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
T. Graham Brown is the newest member of the Grand Ole Opry family.
Good Lord Almighty, man. I'm so happy for Sheila.
You said this is and you said it, you included her when you said it off the air, whether you realize it or not. You said, this is the greatest thing that has ever happened to me and Sheila.
It is. Man, this is the biggest thing that's ever happened to us. You know, man, it's been a long up and down ride, and I'm just so thankful. Sheila's hung in there with me, man. We've been together 46 years, and she's loved me and prayed me through some tough times, and it's just wonderful. It was wonderful to see her face when all this happened. It was a crazy deal, man. You know, I can't believe that everybody went to so much trouble to surprise me like that. I mean, I know that people, you know, they'll walk out on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry and invite somebody, but man, you know, I have this show on Sirius XM, and Opry Dan and Vince and his publicist and all his people and his manager was there. They put all this together, the people in New York at Sirius XM and Nashville at Sirius XM and Dan and Gina, and it was this big fake deal. The whole thing. The guy in New York called me up and said, "How would you like to interview Vince for 30 minutes for your show?" And I said, "Man, it'd be great." And he said, "Well, look, we'll do it at the new studios down at the Batman building and all." And I thought it was just an interview. And we've been sitting there talking, you know. They told me Vince had 30 minutes. And
so tell the green room story. Kelly and I don't think Charlie got to hear this a minute ago.
The way on the interview thing, I was going to tell you is that I was watching this clock on the wall, and I was over the 30-minute allotted time that they told me I had to talk to Vince. They told me Vince had to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it was 3 minutes past 30 minutes, you know, and I said, "Well, Vince, I see we got to go, and I appreciate you coming and all that." And Vince went, "Oh, by the way, man, you do the Grand Ole. How many times you done the Grand Ole Opry?" And I told him. He said, "Well, this whole thing has been a setup. They sent me over here to ask you if you'd be the newest member of the Grand Ole Opry." And I started crying, man. It was just like such a weight off my shoulders. I've been wanting it for so long. And what was odd is, you know, Vince and I have been friends since probably '84, something like that. And we were sitting in the green room before this interview I was going to do with Vince, and I just looked at him and I said, "Man, if they ever asked me to be a member of the Grand Ole Opry, would you be the one to induct me?" And he kind of looked at me funny, you know. And he said, "Sure, yeah, I'd do that." And I.
So looking back, you think he thought, "Oh, wait a minute.
Somebody's told him.
Somebody's dropped a hint. He's picked up on it."
I'm sure it crossed his mind.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, I wonder. But no, I had no idea. No, but it was just odd that I asked him that like 30 minutes before he asked me. But man, he fooled me. They all fooled me. It was great. It was great.
No,
So he talked for 30
got
minutes
me.
for nothing.
well, I would love to hear the whole interview because
Yeah.
Vince actually said, he goes, "Yeah, man, I just been making stuff up. I hadn't told the truth
Yeah,
one time in these
right.
30 minutes. I want to hear what these answers are."
Well, it was just a mind-blowing thing, man. And then Opry Dan and Sheila, and once Opry Dan, they'd been hiding out. See, we didn't know they were there.
How long had you known Sheila, or did you? You didn't know either. Okay.
No,
All
we
right.
didn't have a clue. It was amazing, Bill. I love the Opry so much, and you just don't know how long I've been dreaming for.
Oh,
to,
yes,
to
I
us,
do.
It just
Yes, I do.
we feel like we finally made it.
Yeah.
You know, we feel like we finally made it.
Before we get to the break, how many times have you played it? And take us back to the very first time you played it.
Well, we're going on 400 times now.
Okay.
And the first time I ever did it was in '86. I think I Tell It Like It Used to Be was probably going up the charts. And I can't remember who introduced me that night. I just remember it was a thrill. But golly bum, that's been almost 40 years ago. Wow. And it was so odd that I was already booked to be there. This all happened on Tuesday afternoon. And it was odd that I'd already been booked to be there Tuesday night.
And we're the opening act on Tuesday night.
It was just a perfect day.
I don't think it was odd. They probably planned it.
Well, they might have. It was just a beautiful thing.
And I want to say, and maybe you'll remember the year you were on this tour. The first time I saw you, Lakeland Civic Center, Lakeland, Florida. I was doing mornings in Orlando at WHOO, and you were opening for Ricky Skaggs in Kentucky. So what year was that? 84, 5?
Maybe 85.
Okay. Yeah, because
maybe 85. Man, I am so happy. It really is a validation, man. We've been wanting this. I'm telling you, thanks to y'all goodness, man. Charlie, Kelly, of course, Bill. Y'all have been. To start with, y'all are our friends first, and y'all have just been pulling for us for so long. I've gotten you know what's been so cool is I've gotten messages from everybody. Mark Wills was the very first message I got, but I've heard from, Clint Black was right on it immediately, and Gene Watson, and Jeannie Seeley, and just Opry members after Opry members have called me, and Gatlin, just heard from him. And, I was on Daily and Vince's television show yesterday, and they had us flowers and all. It's just been, everybody's been, Mandy Barnett, on and on. I know I'm leaving people out. But.
Well, you know, Mandy certainly knows how you feel because she played it about 500 times.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I know that.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's just.
Well, Kelly Sutton let us know. That's the first I heard of it. Was she sent us a screenshot? And then it was like, I think I responded, "This is the best thing ever."
I squealed. I was walking through the house and it popped up, and I'm like, "What's going on?" It was before the press release or anything, and I squealed and I took a screenshot and immediately texted everybody. I was like, "They just asked T to be a member of the Grand Ole Opry." I was so happy for you. We all are. We're
Thank
so
you,
thrilled.
honey. We love Nashville. We've been in Nashville since 1982, and it's so cool that all our Nashville we just feel like such a part of this town and the music business. And we're so, I can't say it enough, we're so thrilled and thankful.
Well, you will be forever.
Ain't that something? And I'm telling you, man, that's what Sheila said. Always and forever, you'll be a member of the Grand Ole Opry. And you know what's really cool is they're coming out with a 100th anniversary book.
You'll be in it.
And the people that were there the other night, you know, they filmed me doing a bunch of stuff the other night, and they interviewed me for the book. So I just came under the deadline. They told me they were turning it in next month. He said, "Man, you made the cut."
T. Graham Brown is in the house on Coffee, Country, and Cody.
I was asked to come here by the opera to invite you to be the next member. Oh, boo. Yes. Maybe you'll sing that song on that night. That'd be cool. No, I was asked to come in. It's all right, brother. But they love you and
Vince gets it, doesn't he?
You gonna make me cry again, man.
Hey, you made me laugh instead of made me cry when you said, "Oh, bull."
Well, see, the thing of it is you know what a jokester Vince is.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's world famous for that. I thought he was pulling my leg, man. Like I said, I had no idea. It was I wouldn't have. You could have given me a million guesses, and I wouldn't have guessed it.
But my old preacher daddy, when he didn't agree with something, he would say, "Oh, bull." And when you said that, I was like, "Oh man, have I heard that my whole life?"
That's about the time when when he said that, I about dropped my phone because I was watching and I went, oh, wait, no, he's not kidding. He's not kidding. That's one thing Vince would never joke about, but I know it took a minute to like settle in for you.
What a sweet thing to have Vince do that.
And he's very emotional. Everybody knows Vince cries easily.
Well, that's what
so
Sheila
when,
was telling
when
me.
you started crying, he was like, you could just in his voice when he said, that's okay. He understood.
I told Sheila, I said, I hope it was okay if I cried. And she said, well, Vince cries too. So,
Yeah.
hey, man.
I have an
If
idea.
you can't cry over that, what can you cry over?
That's
Absolutely.
right.
I have an idea for your opening number on your induction night at the Opry.
What?
Why don't you do the Lauren Green classic that was the first record you ever bought, as I recall from our history of interviews? Ringo.
He lay face down in the desert sand, clutching a 6-gun in his hand.
Ringo.
You know, it's so crazy. I heard that one on the radio the other day.
Did you really?
Yeah. And I asked Vince in an interview one time, I said, what was the first record you ever bought? And you know what he told me? They're coming to take me away. You remember that song?
Oh, yeah.
They're coming to take me away, ha ha. They're coming to take me away, ho ho, he he, ha ha, to the funny farm where life is beautiful. And I said, Vince, I had that record too. So Vince and I had the same goofy record.
Where does Jim Fogle's song, Country Music Hall of Famer, come into your life?
Oh, man, he was the sweetest man. You know, I sang demos when I first moved to town, songwriter demos, and they would pitch those songs around town trying to, you know, the publishing companies would pitch the songs trying to get them cut.
Right.
And so my voice got passed around on those demo tapes. You know, people were hearing my voice on these songs they were listening to, and it kind of got to being, they told me it was like, well, the song's good, but who's that guy singing the demo? And that's how my voice got around town.
How about that?
And well,
So,
should
Jim-
I tell them the story about
Do
the
it.
singing SOB? Should I tell them? Okay, so anyway, Terry Choate, the late great Terry Choate, produced a bunch of the demos that I sang at Tree International Publishing Company, you know, and the home of so many classic country songs. So anyway, Capitol Records reorganized their Nashville office, and Terry Choate went to work for Capitol in their A&R department. And Mr. Fogelsong was brought in to run the whole record label, and they had hired this whole new staff. And Choate told me the first meeting that they were all around this conference table, and Mr. Fogelsong said, who do y'all think we ought to sign first? And Terry Choate said, I think you ought to sign T. Graham Brown. He's a singing SOB. And then the next person stood up and said, I think you ought to sign T. Graham Brown. He's a singing SOB. And Terry Choate told me everybody at the table said the same thing. And then it got to Mr. Fogelsong, and he looked at all of them and said, well, sign the SOB. So that was how I got my record deal. That's what they told me.
And for all you aspiring artists, it's just that easy. That's it.
You know, Elvis always had the TCB. You need a necklace that says SOB.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
So, quickly before we wrap up, your love story with Sheila of 46 years, where does that begin?
Well, in Athens, Georgia. She was going to the University of Georgia, and that's where I met her. And she was working on a master's degree. She's got 2 master's degrees, one in dairy science and one in nutrition, and she had been admitted to the vet school. She was going to be a veterinarian, and we were living on the farm. We got this farm in Route 4 Commerce, Georgia, that's still in our family. It's been there 7 generations, and we were living in this old hippie house on it. We called it old hippie house. It was just an old frame house that had been there, I don't know how long. Anyway, she came home one day and from school, and she had just finished up her master's to work, and before she went to vet school, she said, let's move to Nashville. And I said, really? Because I was scared, man. I was terrified. And she said, if we don't move to Nashville, you're going to second guess yourself the rest of your life. And I said, well, what about vet school, honey? And she said, I can always come back and go to vet school if we have to. And so she worked at the Castner Knot department store during the day and waited on tables at this restaurant called Miss Daisy's Tea Room in Green Hills at night. And she worked 2 jobs while I was over there on Music Row singing demos for $20 a pop. And she's just been the one, man. And, you know, everybody probably knows all about my ups and downs with alcohol and drugs and all that. And she's just hung in there with me. She's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. And I told her on the way I said, honey, you know you're my best friend. And she's got my back. It's so wonderful to have somebody that you know's got your back and loves you so much like that. And that's why I say all this is for her, really. I just want to make her happy. And she's so happy right now. And I'm so proud of her. And thankful for her. It's a God gift, and we're both Bible-believing Christians, and we're tickled, baby. It's just, we're tickled.
What a love story. T. Graham Brown and Sheila. And the singing SOB is a member of the Grand Ole Opry.
Yay! Go Opry! Thank y'all.
Hey, do you have a date? Do you know when you're going to be inducted?
No, we haven't figured that out
all right.
yet.
Well, let us know first. Don't tell anybody till you tell us.
That's
okay.
right.
When you find out.
I'll do it.
Here it comes.
Thanks for having me.